The story, I mean, everybody hears with Sidney, it sounds like a Cinderella story. I mean, he's won everything. The part that a lot of people don't see is just how difficult that process is, the amount of sacrifices that he had to make.
Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, the year 2000. Hockey's next generational star is just 13 years old.
Third-year novice, when I scored 159 goals. I knew then that maybe I had a special scoring touch or something. I think that was the point when I realized that I should take this game seriously.
I wasn't the biggest one out there, and I was starting competitively hitting. I mean, that's a big step. I think there was definitely something to be said about just getting a little stronger, but I didn't really want to do it necessarily lifting weights.
I was working at this hockey school in PEI. Sidney was a student at the school. There was this talk around the camp that there was this really great 13-year-old, and maybe he was the best 13-year-old in the world.
Really liked what I learned that day, and Andy knew what he was doing as far as getting around the gym. Kind of asked him if he'd ever be interested in doing some sessions.
A year later, we decided to work together for a full summer. And that first summer that we worked together, he was my only client actually, so we spent a long time together. I think we were working out 2 to 3 times a day.
The early days were pretty long, from what I remember. I mean, he'd have a track workout, and then we'd go in the gym, and then we'd go do something at the hill, and it didn't really feel like necessarily we were working out.
It was just this great exploration for both of us, me learning about him and then him learning about the whole idea of strength and conditioning and how it could help his performance. Boy, sit out, boy.
Despite garnering national attention, both Crosby and O'Brien remained focused and shared a mentality common in the Maritimes.
Didn't have an NHL team up close. There wasn't a team you went to watch. I mean, the NHL seemed so far away. It seemed like another planet.
If you're one of the top athletes coming into the Maritimes, there's always this element of doubt from the rest of the country. You're naturally an underdog.
That all changed for Crosby at the 2002 Air Canada Cup.
There were some teams from Alberta that had been hearing about Sidney. They weren't overly threatened by Sidney. They just kind of figured, well, if he was in our league, he probably wouldn't be doing very well. From what I know of Sidney over the years, he loves that moment. He loves being doubted. He loves being the underdog. Nothing's better than being the underdog and then, sticking it to the guys that are doubting you.
In 2005, Crosby realized a dream he once felt was a world away. 4 years later, he would become the youngest captain in NHL history to hoist the Stanley Cup. This past season, O'Brien joined the Pens training staff and witnessed the worst start of Crosby's career firsthand.
Twice a day being asked why he can't score.
Crosby's had a tough year.
Not very often has he gone through periods like this.
During some of the difficult times, some of the conversations were, imagine if we could turn this thing around and win. There was a moment where that seemed very far away. I saw it as, the setting up of something great to come.
What a journey it's been for both teams to get here. In December, the Penguins were closer to last place than they were to a playoff spot.
I mean, we used to just dream, imagine what it'd be like to host the real Stanley Cup over your head. And every single drill that we did it with that mindset.
The Pittsburgh Penguins have won the 2016 Stanley Cup.
To see that come to fruition, it really brought back memories of those earlier moments.
It's really hard to believe that it's been that long. Going through different injuries and what he's been there for, I think it meant a lot. I know how bad he wanted to win the Stanley Cup, so it was nice to be able to share it with him.